Hey everyone, we'll be starting the webinar in 2 minutes, just waiting for a few more people to join in. Thank you. Hey everyone, and welcome to Gupshop's webinar on how chatbots can disrupt the banking and finance sector. My name is Sohan Maheshwar, and I also have a fellow developer evangelist Shreyans with me. At the outset, let me apologize. There was some mix-up about the timing of the webinar. I think GoToWebinar sent mail to some of you all earlier today. I do apologize for that, but I'm glad you're here. So a little bit about myself. I lead developer relations at Gupshop, and Shreyans is the developer evangelist. You can see our Twitter IDs right there. Right, so let's move on to the agenda of today's webinar. Right, so we're going to talk a bit about a brief history of how banking has really kept up with technological advancements when it came to interacting with their consumers. We'll talk a little bit about how bots will transform banking and finance, the types of bots in banking and finance, the opportunities for people such as you all, and then we'll end with a great demo where we'll show you how you can create a sort of banking chatbot. So let's move on to the next slide, and this is a very interesting slide. Right, so sometime a couple of years ago, Gartner, who are the industry leaders in surveys across the world, they said that by 2020, the customer will manage 85% of its relationship with an enterprise without interacting with a human. Now, that might have sounded really audacious back a couple of years ago, and people were pretty surprised when they heard something like that. But truth be told, it's actually not very. It's actually something that's definitely going to happen. Right, because consumers actually are tending towards, they prefer interacting with brands online over bots, which is either a chat bot or a voice bot. Right now, the paradigm is chat, but soon we'll probably move into the voice bot paradigm as well. So that being said, banks and financial institutions have always kept up with technological advances, right? For instance, here's a photo from the first ever ATM. Here's in the next slide, you'll see a photo from the first online banking system, which is actually pretty interesting. In fact, this was called the Home Link. You can look it up on Google. The service actually was there in the 80s in the UK, right? And what it did was it tapped into the UK's post office ViewLink system, and it actually had a dedicated computer terminal that connected to the customer's telephone and television for them to do online banking, which sounds crazy right now, and it was way ahead of its time, but it actually did exist. After that, they were quick to do online banking as well. If you see the Bank of Scotland website from 1998, you can see how wonderfully 90s the whole website is in primitive HTML with classic primitive HTML elements. As soon as the whole app paradigm, you had the paradigm shift from website to app sometime in the mid 2000s. So you had early adopters of mobile apps, and I've chosen this particular example because you can see it's a very early sort of Android app, but now apps on mobile are far slicker as well. And they've also moved into things like smartphone apps, right? And smartwatch apps also. You have wearable banking devices. You can check your balance on your watch and things like that. So the paradigm has shifted from website to apps, and it's shifted to bots and messaging platforms. So now it's only a matter of time before chatbots are really going to disrupt the whole banking and finance sector. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a look as to the types of chatbots that are there and why it's actually going to transform this whole space. Right. If we go to the next slide, we can actually see there are a few reasons why this would happen. One is a term that I'll use very often when relating to chatbots, but they are personalized and contextual, right? So every person will interact with the chatbot differently, and the chatbot will, or the bot will interact with that person based on his or her previous interactions with the bot, right? And it's always contextual. It's based on the user's interactions with the bot, the earlier interactions with the bot. So it would seem like you're talking to someone who knows you, right? Like someone like a friend. At the same time, bots they have far better security and authentication protocols. For instance, if you're talking on, like, say, a messenger platform, the assumption, the underlying assumption there is you are already authenticated, right? Then there's just maybe another extra step of adding like an OTP or a two-factor sort of authentication to really strengthen your security and authentication. The third point is for information intensive areas, right? Like finance, you're going to see like a ton of information about either your bank account or about a product. Text and bot is definitely way more intuitive than, the kind of system that we have now, and we'll go into some of that a little later on. In the future, we'll be seeing bots that will act like your personal concierge, especially with bot-to-bot communication becoming big. So having these sort of unified bots where one bot takes care of all your finances, like say you have 3 credit cards or 3 bank accounts, the one bot will actually take care of all your bank accounts, and you can get all details about your bank statements and things like that by talking to one bot. This is very different from right now when you actually have like 3-4 different apps on your phone. You have to remember 3-4 different passwords on the web, and it's just so complicated. But that sort of unification will eventually happen. And as the old adage goes, time is money. Bots are here to automate your life and simplify your life, and especially with something that you do on a day-to-day basis, which is, I interact with financial institutions or banks. It's definitely going to save you a lot of time and hassle and headaches. So let's go to the next slide, and we'll talk a little bit about the largely two different types of bots in the banking and finance sector. One are the consumer-facing ones, and the next are the employee-facing bots. Right, for the purpose of this webinar, we largely focus on the consumer-facing bots and how you can actually, what opportunities you have in the types of consumer-facing bots, but we also touch upon employee-facing bots for a brief moment. So let's take a look at consumer-facing bots. If you have any questions, please feel free to go to webinar questions link and send in as many questions as you want. Coming back to consumer-facing bots or customer-facing bots, you have different types. Like the 5 main categories that we've identified are product lookup, transactions, customer support, market alerts, and business process. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to describe each one of these, and the sort of things you can do within each of these buckets. And we'll actually show you live examples of bots that exist in today's market so that you get a good idea of how they operate. So let's take a look at product lookup. This is probably the most simple sort of example, and something that pretty much all banks have nowadays as a chatbot or even maybe a voice bot. The whole point of a product lookup is to provide accurate information to the user. If you tried looking up information like saying the interest limit on a fixed deposit for a 60-year-old, it's a nightmare looking up for it on a website, right? Even Google will give you like 300 different search results which point to 300 different pages which all give you different information. But a chatbot can quickly and accurately provide that information, right? My question can be, what is the interest for blah blah blah, and it would give me the answer. Or you could have like a very structured sort of chatbot which with like a couple of clicks will give you the answer immediately. A great thing about this is it also acts as a new channel for lead generation, because invariably users have to enter either their name or their phone number to proceed, and this acts as a new channel for banks as well. And users don't really mind because they're getting accurate and quick results from this, so they actually don't mind. Something that could really disrupt the market in future, and that this doesn't exist right now, is having voice bots as kiosks in ATMs. This is definitely something that we've been speaking to a few banks and they've been trying it out, but it's definitely going to disrupt the market, especially cultures where people prefer speaking to either a person or even if it's a computer, or there is some sort of thing against using like say a touchscreen and chatting with the bot at a kiosk. You'd rather have someone chat with the voice. It's going to be huge. So let's take an example of the Yes Bank bot. This is a live bot that you can check up on Facebook. So Shreyans will be doing the demo. So Shreyans, if you can just bring up your phone. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll take a look at the Yes Bank bot that exists now, and it does product lookup fairly well. Right, yeah, there we go. So if you interact with the bot, you can say hi, click on the get started button, and essentially you can choose auto loan as the option. There are a bunch of loans that you can look up. You'll have to enter like an employee code or a channel code to continue, which you can do that. And this is the lead gen part that I was talking about. You have to enter your name and your mobile number first before getting an answer, looking up products. The great thing about this is also there's an option for a salesperson from Yes Bank to contact you, which you can choose if you want to speak to like a customer care executive. Right. So what it does is, since we're talking about vehicle loans, they have tied up with like a bunch of car manufacturers so that you can see videos for prospective cars, and you can actually skip this if you'd like as well, and you can actually get to the part where which gives you details about the vehicle loan. Right. So we click skip and continue, and as you can see here, there's a tap to talk feature which connects you to someone, but you can also click on the auto loan features, which gives you the sort of features of the loan. We'll come back to the Yes Bank bot in a bit. Let's move on now to transaction bots. Yeah, so friends, just changing. So essentially, we spoke a little bit about product lookup bots, but in transaction bots, the messages that you send to the bot and the messages that you receive are a little more transactional. Right? Again, going with the banking example, simple things, you can view account balance and reports, straight up bank statements that you use web or mobile to do right now. What's interesting about a chatbot is you can also get, or any bot for that matter, is you can get different cuts of data. Right, so you can actually tell your chatbot, tell me how much money I've spent on hotels in September, or how much money have I spent on fuel costs for the year. Right, this is something that you can't do currently on the web or on an app. You'll have to actually do that manually. But having a chatbot with some sort of intelligence layer thrown in above that actually gives you these different cuts of data. You can also take it a step further and use the chatbot to send and receive money by typing out something like send rupees 1,500 to Sarah, or like a friend's name, or to a mobile number. Right. So this simplifies a lot of things. It doesn't have like a steep learning curve like an app might have, or even a web interface might have nowadays for people who are not too familiar with tech. It's very conversational. That really brings the barrier down towards making these sort of transactions on through a chatbot. So we look at like 2-3 really interesting examples now. The first example that we're going to look at, again, it's a live example, you can check it out as well, is the MoneyGram bot. They have a pretty cool bot where you can actually do few transactions, right? So here's what's going to happen. Right, so we're going to click on start over to start from the beginning, and you're presented with few options. You can actually send money and also, track the previous transactions that you made. So we'll click on send money. You can actually send money to someone using this MoneyGram chatbot, which is pretty cool. So there's a login mechanism. So you'll actually have to log into your MoneyGram account and then enter the destination that you want to, or the person's address that you want to send it to, and the chatbot facilitates sending of money. So it makes things very easy. It remembers your login. There's a stronger auth and few more steps, and it's very intuitive essentially. Another example that we're going to look at is the Western Union chatbot. Again, this is a live chatbot. Western Union is a pretty famous financial institution, and just open up the Western Union chatbot here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So again, it's a bot that allows you to log in through the chatbot. It opens a web view on your mobile phone, and it allows you to send money from different countries to people. Right. So it opens up a web view where you can actually enter any sensitive information. You can choose where you want to send the money to, what the amount is, and through which bank account. There you go. Those are the options that you can choose. Right, and you can actually choose how the receiver wants the money, either cash at a Western Union location or through a bank account. You get option as to how you can pay, and all these transactions are made through the chatbot. So again, it cuts the whole hassle of actually downloading an app or using a mobile website on your phone, which could be a pain, and it just makes things so seamless. We'll also be in the demo that we're going to do later. We'll also be showing you how you can build something like this. Shreyans has a pretty awesome demo built out. Just as a side note, the Amex, the American Express chatbot, also facilitates you looking at transactions and stuff like that. So if you have an Amex account, you can log in and check it out. We don't have an Amex account to show you, but it is live right now and you can check it out. Cool. So yeah, there's Amex account. Yeah. Cool. So we spoke a little bit about transactional chatbots. We'll talk a little bit about customer support chatbots. Now, customer support in a vertical in itself is the vertical that was first to kind of react to chatbots. Most of the bots that you see nowadays, especially the chatbots, are customer support because the current system of customer support is such a broken system. And chatbot is like the sort of obvious low-hanging fruit and how you can actually solve that. We won't delve too much into details here because I think, the customer support bots can be like an entire webinar in itself. But essentially in the banking and the financial sector context, nowadays I'm sure you've seen like a ton of social media posts on Facebook and Twitter from your friends and family about, how a bank is not responding to their queries or there's something gone wrong. And they're largely irritated and, you're shouting at banks, and banks are also struggling to keep up with that. What a chatbot can do is eliminate like at least like 60-70% of these sort of interactions by actually providing instant answers to customer queries. It's been found that at least 80% of most queries that any organization receives come from the same sort of frequently asked question pool, right? So it's very easy to sort of automate these sort of questions, and you can always provide like contextual and personalized and accurate responses. Right, that's the phrase I said I'll be using quite a bit when I speak about bots. But these answers will, like if I say why am I not able to log in, I can actually have like an API integration with my user profile to tell me exactly why I'm not able to log in. Just recently during F8, Facebook's developer conference, the VP of Messenger, David Marcus himself, said that Rogers, which is the largest mobile operator in Canada, saw a 60% increase in customer satisfaction after they launched customer support on Messenger, which is a pretty awesome stat if you look at it. Also, you can actually build in like a human operator switch into your chatbot, right? Like say you get a question that you haven't accounted for in your frequently asked questions, the bot can switch to like a human operator at the back end, right? And which will give like an instant response to the user, and the user is happy and more engagement. And what you can do is also feed in that answer and question to like a centralized pool of questions and answers. Right, so as time goes on, your system becomes smarter, and there's a self-learning feedback system that exists, which makes your entire customer support smarter. We can take a look at an example. We've built an example for Cosmos Bank for their customer support. So it's completely text-based, and you can ask like a bunch of questions, and it will give you accurate responses. So this is a Cosmos demo bot. Excuse me. So yeah, so we're going to click on ask a question, and since it's free form, we can ask like any question within the realm of the bank. So maybe we can ask something about like a KYC form. Yeah. Okay, so Francis is typing about the KYC form. And yeah, so the question was, what documents do I need for KYC? This is know your customer, and it's actually responded with the answer. Right, this would otherwise be answered by like a customer care representative, which would take time, and users get antsy and stuff like that. But like maybe you can ask about interest rates for saving account, right, and you would get an answer almost instantly. So like I said, it's providing instant answers that are very contextual, and this absolutely increases engagement and customer satisfaction. Yeah, there you go. Cool. So we spoke a little bit about customer support bots. We're going to speak a little bit about market alerts and reminders. These are, I think it's quite self-explanatory, but having a bot on, especially on a messenger platform like Facebook Messenger, gives you the option of providing instant alerts about things. And again, it is personalized because you can set maybe the sort of companies that you're following on the stock market. You can also maybe choose the number of messages that you want to receive per day, or if say some company stock goes above 10%, below 10%, you can customize all of those things. And all of this is a push mechanism. You are not actually going and actively looking for it. So when it happens, the information will come to you, right? And this need not be limited to just stock markets and things like that. You can also have reminders to renew insurance, renew fixed deposits, recurring deposits, things like that, right? So Yahoo Finance is a great example of a bot that does this well. We'll just open that example up. It does it really well. It also provides like news about the sort of company that you're following and related stocks and things like that. So let's open up the Yahoo Finance bot and show you what is actually possible. Yeah, not able to see the visor screen just yet. Yeah, there we go. So that's the Yahoo Finance chatbot. And you can interact with it, say things like hi, and you can maybe choose a company like say Google, right? So you can either enter the company's name or the ticker symbol, in which this case is GOOG, but yeah, you can type Google as well. And you'll actually get like the latest news reports about Google, as well as what your stock is at and what related companies are at and things like that. And it uses like a bunch of public APIs really well to give you a very seamless sort of experience. So that's what a Google stock costs right now. There's also news about related companies and related news. You can set alerts. You can also like predict price if you want. So some great features right there. Yeah. So that's a bunch of news articles. Yeah. So you can actually set an alert. You can actually say, if Google hits a price target of +5%, -5%, or custom number as well. This is for Facebook. If you want to check what's going on with Facebook, there you go. That's what the stock costs. So pretty interestingly done, and definitely something to check out. Cool. The last type of bot that we're going to talk about is a bot to simplify business processes, right? These business processes could be anything. They could be things like loan approvals or loan origination, asking the user a bunch of questions like income, age, etc. Right now, you actually have people who manually do this. Like, for instance, if a person goes and asks for a home loan, he or she has to go to a bank, and then you have to speak to a person who asks you questions like, what's your income, how old are you, how much loan do you want, and like a ton of other questions. Obviously, you need like a huge man force for this. It's not very scalable. There are a bunch of other problems as well that come with, you can't do this 24/7. With the bot, you can actually automate all of this, right? And it saves you like so much money and so much automation and simplifies so many things. It's awesome. You can also do this to calculate premiums for insurance, calculate interest for fixed deposits, recurring deposits, all these sort of tasks that involve like repetitive calculations or like a sort of data entry can all be done through a bot. So I did say we'll come back to the Yes Bank bot. The Yes Bank actually does loan origination in the same bot, right? So we come back to the vehicle loan, and you can actually do the loan origination process right here. Right, so if you click on conditional approval, you have to enter a few details like whether you're salaried, whether you're self-employed, what your income is, there you go, enter your monthly income. So all of this acts like a sort of first level of loan origination for you, thereby saving the bank like tons of money and manpower. Right, so are you paying EMI, things like that. So there are set bunch of parameters that you actually have to enter, and that's how it works. Cool. So we spoke a little bit about consumer-facing bots. We briefly touch upon employee-facing fintech bots. Essentially, the sort of they aren't, to be very honest, they aren't as specific to only fintech, but you will find them in other industries as well. But essentially, bots that help with HR, with CRM, with ERPs, bots that have internal reporting. Most of these financial institutions have like a ton of internal reporting tools, like their own products or sort of platforms and frameworks that they use internally. And right now, you can actually use it for internal reporting, to maybe throw up an alert on like a Slack or a HipChat when like a number goes up or goes down. You can also use this for business alerts, for especially like stock traders or people working in like say cryptocurrency and things like that. When things are volatile, things keep changing, you can actually get alerts within like say your Messenger or within like a Slack or a HipChat to actually set these alerts. So you can absolutely have bots for all this. You can also have bots for simplifying business processes internally, right? We spoke a little bit about business process externally, but we also have bots that do that internally as well. Those are a few examples of employee-facing fintech bots. You'll find a ton of them that exist on Slack and HipChat. Since these things are largely internal, we'll skip past the demo for this for now. But yeah, there are a ton of them on Slack that you can actually check out. There are a few benefits of bots in the banking and finance sector, right? So one, let's talk about external impact. We just spoke about how customer engagement and satisfaction is there. So thanks to this increased responsiveness and engagement and the fact that it's accurate, right? You're definitely going to increase customer satisfaction. Your customers are going to love you for something like this. And this is only going to lead to increased market share. That sort of sentiment for a customer to have against or for a bank will be very commendable. There's also an internal impact that we briefly touched upon, which is an org-facing impact. You have instant communication internally, which improves efficiency all around. There's a ton of cost that you can actually save up, right? Like imagine just having 20% of your current customer support workforce, which you're obviously spending a lot of money on. And because of all this automation, you're going to like have like a lot of reduced costs, which is definitely going to simplify things for the bank. Cool. Moving on to the next slide. What are the opportunities for bot makers such as yourself? Right? I'd say tons. It's early days in the ecosystem, and people are still trying to figure out what the best sort of use cases, best bot designs are. So there's a lot of opportunities for bot makers such as yourself. One is a ton that we just spoke about, bots for your organization. They could be consumer facing, they could be employee facing, but you could also do public bots. For instance, if you're an independent developer, not attached to any financial organization, but still want to build in the BFSI space, you could actually use publicly available APIs to build something like a stock market bot, for instance. You can build bots for cryptocurrency, the ones that actually either tell you about transaction history, help you with making certain transactions or set alerts, things like that. Or you can also build bots to help with personal finance management. Personally, there's this great bot called HelloPig that we at GupShop had helped build. You should check it out. It's for accounting and invoicing, and has a lot of character and things like that. You should check it out. So now we'll move on to a demo, and I'll transfer things to Shreyans, who will take you through the demo. Shreyans, over to you.
Thanks, Sohan. And hey, everyone. So far we saw that, you can have a bot which can do lead generation. You can have a bot to view your balance. You can have a bot to do product lookup. You can have a bot to, kind of set reminders or something like that. So we have created a demo around all these factors. So let's get straight into the demo, and then we'll take a look at how to develop that. So the demo which we have created is XYZ Bank. So let me just, say hi to it, and it requires my number. So let me just give it my number. Now this goes to the backend and tries to validate that and gives me options like product search, balance inquiry, and set reminders. So we'll come back to product search, but we'll just do balance inquiry first. And it says an SMS has been sent to her, and you can see that I got a SMS saying your balance for account is INR this, right? So let's look at the SMS once again, and if you can see, I have these SMS sent to my number. So yeah, let's go back to the bot, and now let's do product search. So let me see that search. Let's do product search, and you can see that the products which XYZ Bank has to offer are on display. So I can either view details or share this. Now first let's go ahead and view details of salary account, like what percent interest rate and everything it offers, and the bank sends me these details like there would be no minimum balance required, you will have checkbook, and then unlimited, all those stuff. Now, suppose one of my friend also wanted to ask me that how he wants to open a salary account, and he asked me how is the product of XYZ Bank. So what I can do is directly, share this, and let me share this with Sohan itself. So I have Sohan, I will just send it to him, and Sohan receives the message with this detail like this. So Sohan receives this message like salary account this and a chat me button. So Sohan can actually go ahead and either directly view this, or he starts interacting with the bot, which takes him to proxy bot, of course, for now, which I have coded that way. So that's how product search and maybe product sharing will work. Sorry about that. Now we also saw that there was one bill reminder tab along with product search and everything. So I can just go ahead and say bill reminder. So suppose I want to set up some bill reminder for my credit cards which I have, and the bot pulls it from the backend saying, okay, these are the two credit cards you have, or so do you want to put it for 909 or 308, or you want to it for the both? So I'm going to go ahead and select this saying, okay, I want it for 909. So bot said, okay, I'll keep that in mind. So we'll come back to this. I'll show you, we'll come back to this when we talk about how we are actually doing the, how the bot is being coded, and how can you send notification. We'll see how we'll send the notification. For now, let me just, go ahead and restart the bot by saying hi. And I want to show you the lead gen part where I will enter a completely different number. Now this number doesn't exist in my backend, so the options which I'm getting right now is completely different, like product search and want us to call you, because I cannot do a balance check because this number is not linked to my accounts. So now let's go ahead and see how we can develop this and how I have developed this demo on GupShop platform. So let's go to Gup. So you have to go to gupshop.io and log in using GitHub or Facebook. Then you can go ahead and head to my bot section where you can create bots and use different tools which we have to create the bot. So this is where you actually plus sign, you can create a bot name and all those stuff. So I have the XYZ bank bot here, and I'm just going to now this opens the ID bot builder which we have, where you can write your code and develop it. So I have you know I have a couple of checks here, and I'm making certain API calls to the backend of the bank, the dummy bank which I have created. So let me first show you the the APIs that I have created. So I'm going to use a tool called Postman to show you that. So the first one I had created is validate, which actually goes to the backend which I have created. It tries to run this API, tries to validate, and it validates only my phone number because that's what is entered into the backend. So if I just do a send to this, it says true. So if I for instance, if I just give something else, it will return a false saying this phone is not valid with us. Similar way, you have this like get list. So get list gives me the list of bank products. So I have a premium salary account scheme, and then the image which I have hosted it. So the image which you can see in the carousel. So I have created these APIs, and what I'm doing is I'm harnessing those APIs into my code and trying to build. So for example, here I'm validating the phone number based. If the phone number is validated, if it comes as true, then I'm doing a quick reply where my options are completely different, like product search, balance inquiry, set build reminder. And if the phone number is not valid, then I'm actually sending it like product search, or do you want us to call you? And of course I am storing these in the phone number in the database. So I can show you, this is the database. So how to get here is, so corresponding to bot, you have this data tab. If you click on that, you can access the database. And if I click here, I have the phone number stored. So your phone number is stored in the database. You can pull that out anytime you like. Yeah, so after that, if someone does a product search, I'm again making this call to the get list and getting the list. Then what I'm doing is in this function, product search function, I'm actually dynamically creating the carousel, which is a Facebook functionality. It's a structured message which Facebook provides. If you're wondering, if you want to know more about the syntax and different functions which is present in this bot, you can actually go to the document section where we have all the documents required for developing the bot. So the doc section which we have on our website, and under ID bot builder you will find all the guides which is necessary for you. So handling conversation, handling data persistence, like storing data, making HTTP calls and everything. Along with that, if you want to know about specific platforms like specific feature of Facebook, for example, you can look at structured messages guide, which has like generic template which we used as the carousel for showing the product search. We use quick replies for our which for showing those options like what you want to do next and all. So you can look at this. All right. So we left out at sending the will reminder notification. So uh, I have created a send notification API, which if I click on this, it will actually send a notification to me on Facebook Messenger. And if I open my phone, you can see that I have a reminder saying your bill for account number this is due on this one, due on 31st July. So this is how a notification can be sent. For that we have an HTTP call to bot which I'm leveraging. So making HTTP calls to bot is what I'm leveraging and trying to send the notification to the user through my bot. So you can, any bank out there will have their backend, will have their APIs. It is very easy for bot to integrate with them and create a very good experience for the users. Even in case of customer support, you can have the FAQ sets and everything, which bot can actually query your database and respond back to the user. And if human intervention is something which is very much possible. So as Sohan has said, we will be doing another webinar on that. So at that time, we'll talk more about it. Yeah. So with that, let's move on. Yeah. So now let me talk about a little bit about the platform. So Gupshup offers a complete set of tools for entire bot lifecycle. And when we talk about bot lifecycle, it is quite similar to the software lifecycle which we know about. So you have to gather requirements, you have to spec down your bot, then you have to script your bot, then you have to architect like what APIs, what database, and all those stuff. Then you have to develop, which I showed you. We have a cloud ID where you can develop. You have to test the bot out, so you can actually we have built something called Gupshup proxy bot on all the messaging channel, which lets you test your bot before even publishing it on the messaging channel before it is available to the users. Then we provide hosting solutions where you can with one click I was able to deploy the bot on AWS. Then we have the publish mechanism where you can publish to more than 20 different channels on our platform, including the web widget which we have, which you should take a look at it, where you can embed the bot into your website. Then we have monitoring in place where we keep on checking the health of the bot. We are promotion. We are coming up with bot store and all stuff so that your bot gets promoted as well. Analytics, we provide analytics, in-house analytics, as well as we support certain analytics platform on our platform as well. So yeah, we provide tool for everyone. So developer can leverage the IDE bot builder and code their bot on Gupshup platform. Flow bot builder, where it's a graphical tool which is for which is for non-developers to design the flow of the bot, and it's very useful tool for designers or non-developer to use. Then we have a template bot builder which is for small businesses. Currently we have a restaurant template which a small business can use. So any restaurant who want to go online with a chatbot can actually use that template bot builder and build the bot, where it is super easy and super cool. So with that, I will hand over to Sohan to conclude.
Hey, thanks a ton for that detailed demo, Shreyans. I hope all of you all, really learned how you can build a chatbot on Gupshup. We're taking questions now. Feel free to send. We've already got a couple of questions, so feel free to send in as many questions as you can, and we'll take as many as we can, as many as time permits. So Edward asks us a question, and he says, how do I get a chatbot onto an app that I already have? So that's an interesting question, Edward. So Gupshup has SDKs for Android and iOS on which the same bot that you've built using our online ID can be pushed to the SDK as well. In fact, we did something like this for the Yes Bank app. Maybe Shreyans can pull that up as well quickly, and you can see. So we do have an SDK if you're interested. Yeah. Okay. So Shreyans, if you can just open that up.
Just opening, loading, give me 2 minutes. I think my internet is not really up to the speed.
Yeah, okay. So as you can see, the Yes Bank bot is opening up. So this is a Yes Bank app, and they have a bot that's built into it. Right? You can actually type in, have like conversations with it, do a couple of transactions like recharges and stuff like that, and you can actually, there you go. You can also do the same sort of product lookup that we showed you earlier. You can check for personal loan. Yeah, so I think you get the idea. So yeah, just do reach out to us. You can write to us at developer@gupshop.io and we can give you the relevant links. Right. So Prashant asks a question. So he says the code that you showed was all rule-based slash if else. How can I make a bot using NLP using Gupshop? Absolutely right, Prashant. The code was all if else, but this was just for the purpose of simplifying it for the demo. We have integrations with bit.ai and api.ai that you can use for your NLP. We also have our own NLP API. If you just go to gupshop.io and click on the API button and the top menu, you'll see an NLP API that we have called NLP on the fly. How that works is it's slightly different from most other API models where, such as with an API where you have to actually train the model. With NLP on the fly, there's no need to train the model. And this works really well if your bot has fewer intents. What it essentially does is whatever the user says is matched automatically to the intents that you define at every point of time. So it's a pretty interesting API. In fact, if you see our new ID, we have done a webinar on our new ID as well. There's an integration with that. Thanks, Shreyan. So, okay, another question coming in from Aarti who asks, tell me about Interbot and how I can use that to build chatbots. Right. So essentially, I'll quickly do this because we have done a couple of webinars on Interbot. It's very interesting. And just a side note, if for those of you all in Bangalore or Mumbai, we're doing like a bunch of meetups around Interbot. So keep a lookout on our Twitter for when it's coming to your city. So essentially, Interbot is something that we've developed. It's a communication channel for bots to talk to other bots. We really think this is the future of the bot ecosystem, and it's really here to simplify and automate our lives. Imagine if like your calendar bot could talk to a weather bot to schedule a thing, or your Uber bot could talk to your Starbucks bot to keep your coffee ready. Right. So of course, this will be used in the banking and financial, in the banking and the financial context as well. A lot of brands essentially want to use Interbot because a lot of brands will use like sub bots that eventually talk to a main brand bot, that sort of thing, right? Or banks could use like third party bots to authenticate transactions, like similar to how you have like maybe a VeriSign on the web or something like that. So the possibilities with Interbot are endless. I'd like for you all to check out interbot.cc. It's a pretty great tool. It's still in beta, but it's a pretty great tool and it's very powerful. So do check it out. Any other questions? Those are the questions that we've got so far. Cool. So looks like there are no more questions. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at developer@gupshop.io or on our Twitter. We're happy to answer as many questions as we get. This is part of what we do. And yeah, hope you enjoy that webinar. We're going to do, rather we do webinars almost every week. So keep a lookout on your emails. We'll let you know when the next webinar happens. Till then, thanks from Shreyans and myself. Thanks a ton for attending this and have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.